the NBA schedule is out, and we are looking forward to an exciting season for the Chicago Bulls. Welcome into a brand new edition of the Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast. Mark Shanowski, Tim Kelley here in our beautiful Palatine studio. Stacey's joining us from his home. You got a nice setup going in your home there, Stacey. Looking good.
Yeah, it's I'd like to send a shout out to Dangerous D. He came over here and helped set up my new computer and the lighting and the sound. So I was sounding pretty bad on my iPad, so I went out and got me a Mac to make it sound a little bit better when I have to be at home.
So how you feeling? I don't want to violate any HIPAA rules like I did last week. So do you want to talk about your situation there?
Yeah, I had hip replacement surgery on Tuesday, and I'm a little sore today. It's one of those. It's a complicated surgery. It only took like 2 hours. Shout out to my doctor, Vasily Karras, over at Rush. He does a great job out there, man. It's my second one, so I'm gonna have the hips of a 25-year-old. I might be dancing like Shakira.
We're looking forward to that.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, man. I'll be back on the pickleball court. I might even be back on the basketball court,
go.
maybe shooting jumpers.
Hey, did you get a chance to look at the schedule that was just released? Any initial thoughts on what the Bulls have? I saw one thing that was interesting was they said they have the most favorable schedule in terms of rest, which is a good thing. I mean, in the past, they've kind of gotten screwed in that regard.
Yeah, I saw where we have we're in Miami like 3 or 4 days. That's one of the things I picked out early. Is, where are we going to be staying at for multiple days? And you always look, Mark, for the nice warm places during the winter months. So I did see that we're doing Miami. We got 2 games in Miami. I think we're there like 4 days. So I'll be able to look like Larry the Lobster when I'm done.
Of course, they open up October 25th at home against the Oklahoma City Thunder, and that's a team with the addition of Chet Holmgren to a great already young mix with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey, Jalen Williams, that whole crew. That's going to be quite an opening night, Stace.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game. I mean, that's a good young Oklahoma City team. You get it at home though. That's an advantage for the Bulls. But when you start looking at the schedule, when you say favorable, there's games that the Bulls should win right out the gate. You got, Toronto, you've got Indiana, you got Detroit, Dallas is coming to town. Brooklyn will be tough, but there's 2 games in there that are going to be tough, but they can get off to a really good start.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that looks good is that you've got 2 home games to start against Oklahoma City, then Toronto comes to the United Center, then 3 on the road at Detroit, at Indiana, at Dallas. And it's always important, I think, Stacey, you've been through this so many times. It's a long season, but if you get off to a start where you're 2-8, I mean, it kind of drags morale. I mean, how important is it to get off to a good start in that long NBA season?
Well, it's a very good thing for the Bulls to get off to a good start because, again, you've got a lot of new pieces. You bring back, you're running it back with your veteran guys and Levine and DeRozan and Vucevic. So you should be able to get off to a good start, and I think that if you get off to a good start, Mark, that kind of carries over to the, the rest of the season. Your morale is up. Guys start to believe that they can win. The confidence is there. So I think it's very important for them to get off to a good start because, again, they played really well in the second half. And maybe looking back at last season when they were one of the hot teams, in the second half and were able to get into the play-in game, maybe that carries over to this year and the start of a good season and they can get rolling.
A lot of attractive home games early in the schedule before Christmas. You've got Phoenix coming in on November 8th. They're going to play the defending NBA champion Denver Nuggets at the United Center on December 12th, and then LeBron and the Lakers with Anthony Davis come in on December 20th. Plus, you've got Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs come in the next night, the 21st. So before Christmas, the schedule looks really good. I know fans will be looking forward to all those games with those great teams from the Western Conference.
Yeah, I mean, you see the Lakers, San Antonio, Cleveland. Cleveland's going to be a good team. I mean, they're not going anywhere. I expect a few teams to make some jumps, Mark. Detroit with what they've done. You got Cade Cunningham back, who's big. It's a big reason why they're so excited in Detroit. You got Orlando, who's got a young team. A lot of young teams in the Eastern Conference. But I really feel is if the Bulls can stay healthy and they get contributions from Kobe White, and Patrick Williams. I just believe they're somewhere in the 5th seed. They can be somewhere in the middle of the pack, but they need those two guys to really, really step up this year. It's time for those two guys to step up and basically do what they can to help this team get to another level.
And of course, this is the first year that the NBA is going to try the in-season tournament. I know you have some strong thoughts on that. The Bulls are in a group with Orlando and Brooklyn and Boston. What do you think about that? The whole nature of that, and I guess each player on the winning team gets $500,000, and some people say, well, that's not motivation for the superstars. But I'll tell you what, $500,000 is a lot of money, no matter how much money you might be making in a given year.
Yeah, I mean, for the younger players especially, who are, some guys who are on 2-way contracts, that's big for them. What I'd like to see for them to be a little bit creative. I understand what they're trying to do with the in-season tournament, but what they should do is they should take, at the end of the year, the teams that are in the lottery, coming after All-Star break, you're going to pretty much know which teams are going to be in the lottery. And those teams should play in a playoff type of game, because they're not making the playoffs, but they can play for the number 1 pick, the number 2 pick, the number 3 pick. Instead of doing the, balls, the ping pong balls and all that, make a team earn the number 1 pick. Make whoever those 8 teams or 10 teams that are not going to be in the playoffs, have them playing this kind of a tournament at the end of the year. Plus, I think the fan base gets excited. I think the fan base for each one of those teams get excited, and it really gives those guys something to play for. Where you got an in-season tournament, there's going to be guys sitting out, there's going to be some stars sitting out, and they're not going to take it seriously. But at the same time, when you're playing for the number 1 pick, think about how much energy is in that when you're not guaranteed. Even though you could have the worst record in the league, but you don't get the number 1 pick if you lose in this tournament. So they should have probably done something like that, been creative at the end of the season, and gave those teams an opportunity to earn the number 1 pick instead of doing the ping pong balls and thing. I think the fans would have liked that even more.
Yeah, can you imagine a late season game? You got San Antonio playing Houston for the right to draft Victor Wembanyama. That'd be like a playoff game for those two teams, their whole franchise, the future of the franchise at stake.
Yeah, I mean, it would make it interesting. You know what I'm saying? Because you're right now, the way the system is, the ping pong balls and the envelopes, I never liked those. Because you're just like, oh, this team has the most chances to get the number 1 pick, and then they don't get it. They get the 9th pick. I say you let them play it out, and whoever wins this little tournament, they get the number 1 pick, and whoever's finished second is number 2, 3, 4, all the way down. And I think it'd be more interesting to the fans. I think it'd be interesting to the fan base of those teams that are actually playing for those picks, and it'd be fun to watch.
Yeah, we'll have to get that right to Commissioner Adam Silver. We got some change, courtesy of Stacy King.
Now watch that. Watch in a few years they'll do that format, and I won't get any credit for it.
That's right. Well, there's never a dead time in the NBA calendar. We've got the World Cup that's coming up overseas. It starts next week. The United States has a team that has no players with international experience, but they've looked good in the exhibition games. What do you think about the competition in that, Stacey? We've seen some guys drop out just yesterday from the Denver Nuggets. I'm escaping my name. The shooting guard dropped out. Murray dropped out, and Giannis isn't going to play for Greece. Porzingis isn't going to play for Latvia. So there's guys that have dropped out. Do you think this is going to be a pretty well-received tournament, the FIBA World Cup, Stace?
Well, yeah, I think it is. I mean, some of these teams are trying to qualify for the Olympics. The United States is already in it, but they just play these FIBA games to get guys experience, overseas experience. I like the USA's chances. They have a lot of people on that team that have high basketball IQ. Jalen Brunson, Halliburton, those 2 guys at the guard spots, and Mikal Bridges. You got a lot of guys out there who are talented basketball wise, but high basketball IQ. They look to run. They're running people into the ground with the fast break. So I like their chances. And it's a shame all these other stars are sitting out, but again, when you get to the point of your career, Mark, where you've been playing 6, 7, 8 years, and you get hurt playing in FIBA, playing in the playing games and stuff like that, and then you can't play, for your NBA team, that's probably what a lot of these guys are thinking.
And I think one guy that's going to make a big jump during this tournament is Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Here's a guy that really showed that he can be a go-to scorer in the league last year. I think he's ready to take that next step in his career, and I think he's really going to showcase himself on this U.S. team. What do you think about Edwards and his potential? What's his ceiling look like?
Well, he's a superstar. I mean, this is a kid that's explosive. He can shoot the three. He can put the ball on the floor. He can finish at the rim on anybody. I think it's his time to take over. You know, he can't take a back seat to Karl Anthony Towns and Gobert. This is his team. You know, you still got Mike Conley there, who's a very good, serviceable point guard. But I think Edwards, this is the year that he takes over and he becomes the face of that franchise. I've listened to him talk, and he wants that. Like, he's hungry for that. Like, he understands what it is to be the face of a franchise, and he wants to do that. He's going to work hard. He's a two-way player. He plays defense. And then playing in this kind of stuff in the summer in the FIBA, you know, playing for your country, you know, that means something to some of these kids. They get a chance to actually work with other superstar players, see how they prepare, see, you know, what they do on a daily basis. And sometimes it's good for young players to go see that kind of stuff and see how other guys approach the game and how, like, they approach the game business-like. And then they come back, they're much more mature, and they're ready to do it on their team.
Yeah, training camp will start a little bit later for the Bulls this year. I believe October 2nd is the first date, but they pretty much rounded out the roster with the addition of Terry Taylor, who was with the team last year. They brought him on as a two-way guy. And here's a guy, 6'5" guard, but he's like a power guard. He's kind of a throwback to, you know, the old Oscar Robertson type where he can overpower people in the post. And, you know, a lot of people say it's a non-guaranteed contract at a vet's minimum, but he'll be a guy that's going to compete with these guys in camp. Don't you think, Stace?
Yeah, I really liked him on his first stint here. You know, he came in and he played bigger than what he actually is. And the thing I like about him, he kind of reminds you of Bruce Brown. You know, he's a guy that can play different roles for you. He can guard, you know, anybody on the floor. He's that undersized power forward / big guard. He can rebound from his position, you know, and he'll dunk on you. I mean, he'll go straight up off the vert and dunk on you. So, you know, he feels that Bruce Brown role. Now, it'll be interesting to see because, you know, we hadn't, you know, it doesn't look like they're going to bring back Javonte Green, who's one of my favorite players. You know, so it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. They haven't really said anything yet, but, you know, it doesn't seem like they're leaning that way with some of the additions that they made.
And remember, Lonzo Ball still counts against the roster, so the Bulls will be going in effect with a 14-man roster plus the 3 two-way spots this season. I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, our buddy Jeff Vukovic. When it comes to insurance for your auto, home, and business, make sure you contact the king of insurance. He's our friend, nationwide agent Jeff Vukovic. You can reach him at jeffvuk.com. That's jeffvuk.com. The phone number, 847-825-4783. So contact Jeff for all your insurance needs. And Stacey, I know you're on the mend, but the Golden Pipes are always good.
Nationwide is on your side.
There you go. Stacey always in mid-season form. We're going to talk more basketball with Boston Celtics rookie Jordan Walsh. That's coming next on Gimme the Hot Sauce. Before we do that, just a little bit of baseball to throw at you. Stacey, did you see the finish of that game at Wrigley Field last night? The walk-off homer by Christopher Morel. Looked like that place was going to explode, like it was Game 7 of the World Series.
Yeah, no, I didn't really get a chance to watch it, Mark, you know, as I'm recovering, but I heard about it. And, you know, that's a pretty cool way to end the game, you know, especially in that situation. You know, you got two rivalries, you know, two rivals going at it. That's pretty awesome.
Whispers,
it's like Roy Hobbs.
Yeah,
Roy Hobbs, baby.
You think when you were on your 17th beer, you would have actually seen the home run by Morel?
I would have already been at Murphy's.
Yeah, you would have left. Because they were losing 3-1 go to the 9th inning. And then so you and your crew would have said, we had our 17 at Wrigley. We're going to go over to Murphy's.
Yeah, because the beer stops in that 7th inning. You got to get out of there.
What did you think of the celebration? He ripped his jersey off coming around third, and then they tore his under jersey off as they did the celebration. That was just a crazy moment for a regular season game.
Yeah, it was awesome. And the best part is now you can go buy his cleats, right?
Yeah. Hey, Stacey, you know, our buddies at Drippy, they just posted
Drippy.
They're going to have an auction for Christopher Morel's cleats that he wore yesterday when he hit that home run. So our guys at Drippy making some big moves.
Yeah, man, they've been doing it. They've been doing really, really well, man. That company's starting to take off. So, If you got anything that you want to buy some memorabilia from some of these young and up and coming stars, hey, get drippy.
As for the White Sox, well, they're already looking ahead to next year. There's going to have to be some real serious thoughts about the future of the front office with Kenny Williams and Rick Hahn. I mean, this season has been a total disappointment. 25 games under 500. What kind of direction you think the White Sox need to go, Stacey?
Man, you hate to see people lose their jobs or anything like that, but it's been a tough season for them. The expectations were a lot higher. This team, for whatever reason, the last couple of years, they've been expected to win and be a team to challenge, and they just fall short. And, the rookie manager, this year, I thought made some errors. I thought, coming out talking about they need a leader in the locker room about a week ago. Who's the leader? We don't have any leaders. And, I think that was a dig at, the players in the locker room. And that doesn't sit well with players in the locker room, because at the end of the day, the manager's the leader. You're the leader. You're the one telling everybody, getting the team prepared, giving them the pep talks, putting the players in the right position. They almost need to get a fiery manager.
Bring Ozzie back. Bring Ozzie back.
Bring Ozzie back, man. I mean, seriously. Well, seriously though, because sometimes in baseball, it's such a long season, and man, you need somebody that's going to hold you accountable. You need someone that's like, hey, come on, man, let's go. We need you today. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times these managers just sit around and, hey, just do the best you can. It's like, what? I need a little bit more motivation than that, bro. Like, come on, step up. Tell me, get my ass in gear, run hard to first base, and he's going to get on you if you don't, hustle off the field. You need guys like that on your team, whether it's a bench coach or whatever. And I hate to critique a manager in his first year, but if he comes back the next year, he's going to have to really, really change some of the things that he does as far as like the way he manages the team.
Whispers, they did have one moment at Wrigley Field when Luis Robert hit that home run and the fans were taunting him. You see the still frame of the two kids giving him the finger? Yeah.
No, I didn't see that.
And he gave him the shh as he rounded the base. That was classic. I mean, that's an all-time meme right there. That captures the Cubs-Sox rivalry perfectly. The shot of the two young fans giving the double bird to Luis Robert after his home run. So that was one for the White Sox there, Stacey.
Yeah, that was one of me, stick it to you. One of those stick it to you moments, but hey, listen, it's a bitter rivalry. You like the fans to get involved, long as there's not, fighting in the stands and all that kind of stuff. Keep it classy and let the team settle in on the field. If you're a Cubs fan, you win the series, you talk trash. If you're the White Sox, they win the series, talk trash. But you like to see them play. I wish they'd play a lot more.
Yeah, the Cubs right now tied with the Miami Marlins and the Cincinnati Reds for the final wild card spot in the National League. So it should be fun going down the stretch for the Cubs. Hey, did you see the latest video? Whispers, Al Foran, our buddy, posted a video with all his different characters wishing Robert De Niro an 80th birthday. And his second one was Christopher Walken.
So he started working at it. Huh?
He worked at it. You'll have to take a look at the video. It's the longest one he did was Walken. I think you inspired him.
Well, it's good to be inspirational.
You inspired him.
Yeah.
That's the only person. That's the only person you inspired. But he decided. He decided his. Because I talked to him. He said his walking was so bad when he got on the show that he spent hours trying to perfect it because of you. So, shout out to you, Tim.
He also, I guess, is working on his Tyson now.
Oh Jesus!
Well, no,
don't do it. Don't do it,
without
man.
even
Just
trying. This would be better than yours.
Says, yeah, exactly. Don't even do it.
But since we're talking about Christopher Walken, let's bring him in to sell some hot sauce.
Do it.
Oh, it's nice to be here today. And what's great, as we said last week, it was all about the jewels, and people they are now going to pick up the two sauces that you can't find there right now. The King's Q in 1871. But the good news is, people have been using the codes, Mark.
Good.
That's right. You can use Walkin' Q or Walkin' Fire to get a free bottle with any order. And people are listening. They finally got the wax out of their ears.
Give that code again for all the folks who are not in the Chicagoland area.
That's Walkin' Q and Walkin' Fire. And if you don't know how to spell it, I can't help you.
Walken.
That's
walk.
right. At least you can spell, Mark. That's
Yeah.
nice. So go to gimme
and remember,
.com.
yes, there you go. Make sure you give that website for the
There
people
you
who
go.
do not live in Chicago.
I'm a professional.
lot of people hit
Don't
me
tell
up.
me what to do, King.
Hey,
I'll come
listen,
over
you're
to your
gonna get
house
throw
and
punch when I
break
see
your
you.
hip.
Hey, more hoops talk coming up next. We visit with Boston Celtics rookie Jordan Walsh. That's next on Give Me the Hot Sauce. It is now our pleasure to welcome in Boston Celtics rookie Jordan Walsh. You can see by the background if you're watching on YouTube the lovely Boston Celtics facilities. What's it like being a big-time NBA star, Jordan Walsh?
It's an amazing feeling, amazing opportunity. You know, I'm glad that it ended up being the Celtics, and I'm just, ready to win another championship, hopefully.
What was the draft night experience like for you? I know a couple of your Arkansas teammates went in the first round, and you were waiting to hear your name called. You were actually drafted by Sacramento, then traded on to Boston. What was that whole waiting experience like for you?
Oh man, for me it was long. It was really long. I was real anxious, but I knew that there was some team out there that would buy stock in me, and want to take a chance developing me. And Boston being a place where they really take time to develop their young guys to being able to help them win a championship in the future. I feel like this is a unique opportunity for me, my family, and everybody around me, and hopefully for the Celtics.
Your situation kind of reminds me of Christian Brown, who went to the Denver Nuggets early in the second round and wound up getting a championship ring out of it, being a contributor on that team. Do you feel like because of your skills, especially on the defensive end, that you can step onto a veteran team like the Celtics and contribute as a rookie?
Hopefully, that's my plan. I've heard the Christian Brown thing a couple of times. I heard a lot of people say that I'm similar in that situation. But yeah, if the Celtics can win a championship this year, fantastic. If I can help in any way to give them an advantage in one of the games or maybe a couple of games, even better. But the ultimate goal, I want them to win a championship. I'm glad to have some sort of part in that, even if it is just being in practice, playing against those guys, trying to make them better every day.
What did you learn about the league from your summer league experience? I know it's not all guys that are going to be in the NBA this year, but you start playing NBA rules at that kind of pace. What kind of things did you learn about the NBA style from playing summer league?
Well, the biggest difference for me coming from college was the spacing of the floor and the opportunities that you're going to have, and like the change of paces. There would be one moment where it's really slow, and then all of a sudden now everybody's sprinting. Now it's going super fast. Like there's times where you have to go from slow to fast. And there's people in the league who are pros at doing that. And so being able to guard that and being able to kind of like get into that flow is what's most important for me right now. And obviously making open shots. But I feel like the way to get on the court for me is just being able to guard 1 through 4 effectively and being able to make open shots and make life easier for guys like Tatum, Porzingis, and JB.
The Celtics have retired a whole ton of numbers. So what number are you going to wear? And was that frustrating for you when you asked for a number and they go, no, that's retired. No, that's retired. And what did you end up with?
Yeah, so they sent me a list, and they were like, these are the numbers. It's obviously was not a long list. So they sent me a list. It's like, here's what we got. We got 70 through 100, and then we have 27 and 29. And I was like, I get y'all the Celtics. Everybody's retired, so that's pretty cool. But I ended up going with 27. So 27 will be the number I rock for this year. Has a little meaning behind it, but it's one of the few that were left. So I'm glad I just got a number and got a jersey with it, with my name and my number on it.
Have you had a chance to talk to some of your veteran teammates, guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and have they opened you with open arms to the Celtics family?
Yes, I have got a chance to talk to a couple of them. Jason Tatum was just a quick, hey, what's up? My name is Jordan. I'm glad to be able to help you on this team this year. And Jaylen Brown, me and him talked a little more about, just the life of the game and like the life of an athlete. And then I also talked to Al Horford and Kristaps, just trying to get knowledge from those guys, trying to figure out what makes them stick in the league and what's helped them this far, because I want to be able to adopt that to myself, whether it's being a professional, whether it's, being a great person or whatever that is. Like me getting different, sides of the story, whether it's from Al or whether it's from KP, just being able to hear their opportunities and what they've gone through. Hopefully I can take something from that and be able to build a career for myself.
The schedule dropped today, and I'm sure for you the biggest change is going to be 82 games in the regular season. Have you looked at the schedule at all, and what stands out to you in terms of the volume of games and the travel involved as a professional?
Yeah, I was so I just got done working out and I was looking at the schedule before I was working out, like on the right here. And I was like, okay, we got 3 games in Texas, so family's gonna be there for sure. I was like, but right after we're in Texas, then we're going flying to Cali and then we're flying to Utah. And I'm like, well, these are 2 days apart. Like these are 1, 2 days apart trips. Like, that's gonna be a change for me. But hopefully I'll be ready for it. It'll be fun. 82 games is a lot of games plus playoffs because we know Boston how they do. It's a long season. I'm excited for it for sure.
Yes, I've seen two great comparisons with you as being called the steal of the draft and comparing you to the Joker and saying this is a guy who has MVP caliber and could be that other guy from a second round that does the same thing. Have you seen that article?
I heard a lot about steal of the draft when I was in summer league playing. I haven't heard the Joker comparison though. That's kind of crazy. I
Yeah.
feel honored.
Yeah, I figured that would bring a smile to you. The other one was they said, "Hey, look at Jordan and this other rookie named Victor. I'm sure you've heard of that guy." And they said in their first games they scored 9 points in the summer league, but yours was in 9 points in the first quarter.
I saw that.
That was a nice comparison too. And then they went on to say, well, actually, Jordan ended up double that with 18 and on, and said maybe that's the better pick. And I thought that was a funny one too.
Yeah, I saw that. That one gave me a little bit of a laugh for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's nothing wrong with saying being called the steal of the draft.
What was your experience like at Arkansas, playing for Eric Musselman, playing with Anthony Black and Nick Smith Jr.? You guys had a ton of talent on that team. What was your year like at Arkansas?
It was good. I learned a lot. I feel like it prepared me better for the situation that I'm in now. Obviously, AB going top 10 and Nick going first round. To be able to play with those guys, who teams decided to take, in the first round in those early slots. Like I feel like that's just kind of a statement to how, obviously, like you said, how good our team was, and for those guys to come together and decide to win in March Madness and decide to put egos aside and all come together under one goal. I feel like it's amazing. I feel like that's a real testament to Coach Muss and what he does with the program and how he coaches. Obviously, with him being a past NBA coach, he obviously has some experience with NBA guys and the NBA talent. So for him to be able to put us all together and under one roof, under one goal of winning a championship, I feel like that means the world. And hats off to him for sure. But I've learned a lot in that journey. Going up against those guys every day in practice, guarding AB, then switching on to Nick, and then switching on to Ricky or whoever it was, and just guarding everybody. So it was a good experience, a learning experience for me, and I'm excited that I got a chance to do that for sure.
In terms of adjusting to the NBA game, what areas do you think you're going to have to improve on in terms of being able to make an impact right away as a rookie?
I feel like the biggest thing with me is obviously I have to defend. I have to get stronger because if I want to guard guys like LeBron, like I have to be stronger. I have to get bigger. And then outside of that, just knowing the game and being able to make open threes. I feel like that's going to be my role as like a 3-and-D guy while playing with Jason Tatum and Brown and all of them. Just to give them a chance to have that extra defender who's scared to help off of me, who's scared to help onto them because he's guarding me. I feel like that's a big achievement that I need to gain, a skill that I need to be able to make the defense scared to come off of me and help on those guys so that their life becomes easier because those are the stars of this team and those are the guys who everybody needs to look onto to be able to get a bucket in an intense moment or just get buckets in general.
Of course, this is Stacy King's Gimme the Hot Sauce, and the man himself is getting ready to join us. Stacy's getting hooked up from his home, but have you heard much about the Chicago Bulls, and what are your thoughts about maybe being matched up against DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and that crew?
So my parents were Bulls fans. My mom lived in Chicago for a while. She was around when, watching Jordan and all that. So they still have some ties. They did have some ties to Chicago, but I don't have any fear of going up against anybody. I know what kind of player I am. I know my job and what I have to do. And, I have the support of the Celtics behind me, support of my teammates to be able to, who know that, I might mess up one time. Like DeMar DeRozan or somebody might blow past me one possession. But knowing that next possession, I'm going to try and get it back and work hard and I'm going to dive on the floor for those loose balls. I feel like that's, what makes us a team. That's what's going to make me important to the Celtics and let me have a chance to to prove that I can help in a playoff run.
And speaking of the Bulls, one of your representatives, Sean Hickenbottom, worked for a number of years in the Bulls organization. What's it been like being with Sean? He's a young guy trying to establish himself in the business, so I know he's going to go to the wall and be 100% for it at every turn.
Absolutely. Sean's a great guy. He obviously works with the agency that I'm with, but, my connection with him is much deeper. We talk about so much stuff outside of basketball. He helps me with life choices. Sometimes I'll just text him and be like, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And he'll give me advice. And he also can give me advice on, how to move as a pro, how to move as a professional, and how to handle certain situations as a basketball player so that, my peers look at me like a great guy, and everybody looks at me as a great person, so that I can be able to, help this organization in whatever way it is. But having him on my side, somebody who's experienced in this world, it's a great advantage I feel like I have.
And I imagine you haven't had a chance to do much sightseeing yet. What do you think about the city of Boston? What's your initial impressions, and what kind of things are you looking forward to doing as you get out and about in the city?
Yeah, I haven't got to look too much. There's a couple of times I got to walk around a little bit, and I went unnoticed, which was fun. So yeah, I'll take advantage of that. Boston's a beautiful city. I feel like in the daytime it really comes alive. Even nighttime it even comes more alive. Just being by the ocean, being by the water, just to be able to see that, I feel like it's amazing. Obviously, you have access to like boats and all that. So it's a beautiful city, a lot of great food places, a lot of stuff to do, and everybody's pretty much right on top of each other, real close. So it's a good community for sure.
Have you tried any Sam Adams yet?
No.
Well, Jordan, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you the best in your rookie season with the Celtics. Please give our best to Sean, and we look forward to seeing you when you come to the United Center with the Celtics this upcoming season. Almost time for football season, and we are fired up to welcome in the Score's ace Bears beat reporter Mark Grody, who is joining us from Indianapolis Colts training facilities where they are doing workouts with the Bears, joint practices. Mark, I know you're not supposed to tell us what's going on, but tell us what's going on.
Oh, yeah. Okay. They just came up. Justin Fields under center right now with Cody Whitehair getting ready to snap. Justin Fields back to pass. He's rolling right now. Flings the pass incomplete on the right side. Yeah. So 11 on 11. Bears and Colts. I think that was the third play from scrimmage that we've seen out here so far. In beautiful. I don't know if you guys can get an idea of the crowd out here.
Yeah, it's a nice crowd.
But
yeah, nice crowd.
Guys, that's what we call 7,000 people right there watching a Bears and Colts practice in what is technically Westfield, Indiana, a lovely, lovely Indiana town.
And you're gonna get your credential pulled for doing that play-by-play.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
That's okay.
Oh, yeah.
We're sorry to end your career on Give Me the Hot Sauce, but that's kind of what we do.
I'm moving away from all the authority figures right now because I know they're going to be coming towards me here in just a second. So yeah.
Hey, what should we make of the whole Justin Fields phenomenon? I see that some services have him ranked like the 6th best fantasy quarterback. He's like up there in the MVP odds. This has been like a snowball rolling downhill. What's reality and what's fiction here, Mark?
Well, reality is that he is a phenomenal, superb, elite runner and athlete in this league. And at this point, he is or at least from what we saw last year, an average passer. So I think the reason why there are so many high expectations for him is because it's so tantalizing that if you could get some semblance of a decent passing game out of Justin Fields to go along with what is already his God-given weapon in his legs, then that makes for a great quarterback in the NFL. So I think that's what a lot of people are banking on. Now, I will tell you guys that it's been an up and down camp for Justin Fields. There's no doubt about it. I mean, yesterday, maybe kind of a microcosm of it where he was perfect in 7-on-7 drills. I think he was 6 for 6 in those. And then he moved on to 11-on-11, did complete some nice downfield passes, but also during the important 11, team drills, he did throw a couple of interceptions. So, this is what makes me anxious to get to the real season, to get to the real stuff, to see what is real. But from being at every single practice so far, including the OTAs, it's been up and down for Justin Fields.
Well, I tell you what, Mark, just looking at that first preseason game, it looks like they're going to take some shots down the field with all the weapons that they have. It looks like DJ Moore is the real deal. Took that little short screen and took it to the house. And it just seems like the receivers are going to elevate Justin Fields' quarterback in this year. Do you think that is the case?
Oh, 100%, Stacey. It's something that he didn't have much of last year. And those were, real live actual weapons where Justin Fields doesn't have to do everything. He doesn't have to depend on the offensive line as much when you have somebody like DJ Moore. And a lot of people have said it, and I agree, that on the DJ Moore play where he eludes a little bit of pressure and then flings it to him, he probably would have run that ball last year. That would have probably been, that would have been his security because he doesn't trust necessarily the weapons that he has. But now you have DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, who incidentally is not practicing as we talk right now live here on a Thursday night. But, in theory, Chase Claypool could take you to another level as well. And then you have a healthy Darnell Mooney. They were without Darnell Mooney the last 5 games of the season last year. You have Khalil Herbert, who looks like the real deal, as we saw in that preseason game. Deontay Foreman, a rookie rusher, and Roshan Johnson as well. So there are budding weapons on this team, which Justin Fields just didn't have that trust factor with those guys last year.
How about defensively? The Bears secondary looks like it's going to be really strong. They brought in the 2 free agent linebackers who should really help. And then just last week, Ryan Poles went out and signed Ilnyckj, who, of course, played with the Colts last season. How much of a boost will he give to that edge pass rush?
A huge boost, Mark, because, he's good for 9 to 10 sacks a year. Like, he will sack the quarterback. And the opportunity cost is that he's not a great run stopper. But quite frankly, I don't care about that. If the guy gets 10 sacks, gets 9 sacks, whatever, then he has been a success and effective player on this team. So, yeah, that's a huge boost to the team. DeMarcus Walker, another defensive end that they brought in, who had a career-high 8 sacks last year for Tennessee. He is healthy again. I see him out there in full pads right now, as a matter of fact. So he's going to be a factor. And then, you have some other guys as well, like, Trevis Gibson, and who is, in his 4th year, and he's got a lot to prove. Dominic Robinson, a 2nd-year guy who they converted from an offensive player to a defensive end. So hoping to see a little jump from him. And then, you brought in Tremaine Edmonds, who has not been healthy lately. Tremaine Edmonds is a terrific linebacker. TJ Edwards. And as you mentioned, Mark, the secondary of this team seems solid. Somebody asked me earlier, who's my MVP for this camp? I mean, the answer is DJ Moore, but Kyler Gordon, the 2nd-year guy who's going to be playing on the inside this year just about exclusively, has been absolutely terrific and probably gets my MVP as well. But the defense was so bad last year that you really hope for a jump of sorts this year for the defense.
So talk a little bit about how the rookie Tyreek Stevenson's been. I've heard some good things about him in camp. It looks like he may get the start at the cornerback position. That's what I've read.
Oh yeah, you tell you what, you'd definitely be handing him the hot sauce, I think, on a lot of occasions, because he is an excitable guy. He plays with a lot of emotion, but that's secondary. He's been terrific. He's had a handful of interceptions during camp. If you guys watched that first preseason game, he blew coverage on his first assignment, but then after that, he may have been the most effective player on the field, blowing up a screen at one point, deflecting a pass. So from Will Levis, incidentally. So he's been really impressive. Now, yesterday, in this dual practice with the Colts on special teams, he got into it with the gunner of the Colts on special teams. There was a little bit of jawing back and forth. Tyreek Stevenson at one point in time got into it with Chase Claypool as well. So there has to be there's that fine line where you definitely don't want to take the excitement and the adrenaline out of a player. But as Alan Williams, the defensive coordinator, said yesterday, you cannot have that kind of penalty in a game. And that's just one thing that they're worried about, but you definitely don't want to take that out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to ask about him. But is there any other player that you would say has been like this surprise? You go, wow, we really got a gem here for a bargain, and he's going to be something special this year.
Yeah, I'd say, in terms of guys being special, one guy's is kind of boring, but on the offensive line, on Nate Davis, if you guys have been following, he is going to be or expected to be their right guard. But I will say that Jatari Carter, a second-year offensive lineman, has really shined filling in for him at right guard. So I think that that's been really heartening to see. A guy that I'm looking at right now on the field and is lining up as a pass catcher in 7-on-7 is Roschon Johnson. He's a rookie running back who played behind the great Bijan Robinson at Texas last year, and he has been getting a lot. Yeah, I mean, you can't do that. Like, you're not gonna have a chance to shine when you're playing behind a guy like that. So, you know, the Bears definitely have been showing signs of him being a guy that they'd like to develop very quickly because he's been playing with the first stringers. So Roschon Johnson, definitely a guy like that. And I'll say one other guy too who has been impressive, unfortunately not practicing today, is Tyler Scott. He's a rookie wide receiver out of Cincinnati, and he is blazing fast. He did drop a ball in that first preseason game, but there are a lot of, again, signs pointing towards this is a guy who you could see being of consequence at some point in time this season.
Well, Mark, thank you so much for joining us in the middle of 11-on-11 drills in Indiana. We look forward to visiting with you throughout the season, bringing your insight on the Bears.
My pleasure, guys. And we're down to 7-on-7 drills right now. It's getting boring. We need to pop it back up to 11, which we're going to do soon. So, yeah.
All right, Mark. Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Get back
it,
to
Mark.
work. We'll
Thanks,
talk
Mark.
to you soon.
All right, bye, guys. See
Mark
you guys.
Grody
Bye.
from The Score joining us on Gimme the Hot Sauce. That was great. That was great, right? Some live stuff, Whispers.
Yeah, you could hear the crowd. You could hear some hits in the background. It sounded great. It makes me excited for football.
Stacey, you ready for football season? I mean, the college season starts on August 26th, a week from Saturday. Not a full schedule, but there's some games coming up. I know everybody's up in arms about the Pac-12 being blown up. You know, your school, of course, is moving to the Southeastern Conference. You think it's good for college sports, or do you think people are going to miss the good old days?
They're going to miss the good old days because some of these schools had rivalries that go back, 50 years or more, and you miss that. That's what college is all about, the rivalries, the conferences. It's gotten to the point now, everything's about money, Mark. Everything's about money, and people are going where the money is. And they just need to just go ahead and just do a playoff system of 16 teams. The top 16 teams like they do in Division, 1A, 1AA. Just have 16-team tournament, because like now with all the conferences being gone, like who's going to be a Power 5 conference now? How's that going to realign? What conferences are going to have an automatic bid to get to the national championship game? Because you used to have that. Now, if everybody's in like one or two conferences, you got the SEC and the Big 12. Big 12, they've got a ton of teams now. Like you never think there would ever be in the Big 12. They're in the Big 12.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. But money talks, and I hope that they go to a playoff system, 16 teams, and let them bang it out.
And then, now guys like you and John Starks can't yell at each other 30 years later because Oklahoma doesn't play Oklahoma State anymore.
Listen, I'm gonna always yell at John Starks because one, he went to Oklahoma State. Two, he's a New York Knick.
That's right.
So every time I see him, because he came on the show to talk about, just misleading the public by saying Oklahoma, we never beat them as bad as I said, and I had to pull out the old receipts and show them that Oklahoma State we own Oklahoma State. Matter of fact, they should be called. They should just say, hey, look, Oklahoma. This is Oklahoma's school. That's our charter school over there. That's what they are. They're a charter school.
Yeah, if you missed that episode, we visited with John Starks last month, and he and Stacey got into a couple of great debates. So check that out when you get a chance. Time now for one of our favorite segments here on Gimme the Hot Sauce. It's What Are We Watching? Brought to you by our friends at Biggers Mazda. Their sizzling new Elgin location at Randall Road is the biggest Mazda store in Illinois. Biggers is offering a bottle of Stacey's signature hot sauce with first test drives of new or pre-owned vehicles. It's your choice, everything from the coolest SUVs to the stunning Miata. So join in on the fun at 2100 Randall Road. That's Biggers Mazda in Elgin. I'm going to start things off this week. People who watched Winning Time last year were kind of upset that the historical accuracy wasn't always there, but it's a fun show to watch. You got John C. Reilly playing the owner, Bus, which is just hilarious. And some of the guys that are supposed to be basketball players are like, 100 years old, but it's still a fun show to watch. It's basically going over the creation of the dynasty that the Bus family created, and it centers on Magic Johnson's arrival in the NBA. Stacey, I learned something on episode 2 of this season that I'm not sure if it's historically accurate, but in this episode, this is after, remember Magic scored the 46 points when he was a rookie in Game 6, and they won the championship? Well, the next year Magic got hurt, and they were talking about possibly making a move at the deadline. And according to the show, Jerry West comes into Paul Westhead's office and said, I've got a deal done with Denver. We're going to trade Norm Nixon for David Thompson. Imagine David Thompson on that Lakers team with Magic and Kareem.
Yeah.
And according to the show, which is not always historically accurate, Paul Westhead had veto power in his contract, and he didn't want to trade Norm Nixon, so he vetoed the deal, and Jerry West almost killed him.
Yeah, that probably was true. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, listen, it's not, that show doesn't have all the truth in it, but there is some truth in that, because they did get correspondence from players and people who worked in the front office. So I had heard about that trade. I'd heard about that trade that they were talking about bringing, David Thompson in and Norm, because they ended up letting Norm Nixon go to the Clippers.
Right.
So I mean, so you could imagine that deal probably was on the table.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun show to watch. I mean, like I said, the basketball scenes are comical at times. They had the guy that was Julius Erving. I think he was 50 years old. Yeah. It's like, what are we doing here? But it's not about the basketball. It's about the personalities, and the whole Bus family is just hilarious. John C. Reilly does a great job as the owner.
Yeah, so, he's a very good underrated actor.
Yeah, so check it out.
Very underrated.
Check it out if you get a chance. Stacey, what do you got for the folks this week?
Well, you know what? I started off with my show Banshee. I finally finished it. So, America, if you haven't seen Banshee, make sure you check it out. I wish they would have added more seasons to it. I was a little disappointed in that. It came to a close a little bit early. But the show I just got done watching on Netflix, I have to give Netflix a lot of credit. They have some of the best documentaries on TV. And so I got a chance to watch The American Gladiators, which was on 30 and 30, and it's now on Netflix. And it goes behind the scenes. So I used to love The American Gladiators. Used to love it and watch it religiously, and it goes behind the scenes, and it tells you what they did behind the scenes. I mean, they were doing a lot of things behind the scenes, Mark. Yeah, they were. Hey, there's children listening, but the steroids, they were using the steroids, the drugs, the alcohol, sex. I mean, everything. They were doing everything. And then it came down where it was so crazy that they became superstars. Everywhere they went, people knew who they were. They were big time. And then to see their company that they worked for just kind of rob them, didn't give them licensing rights. So the company they work for would make all this fandom stuff, shirts, jerseys, dolls, little play men, and they got nothing from that. Hundreds of millions of dollars. They got none of that. And then one group went in and said, hey, you know what? We got to go in there and we got to make a stand. We got to go in there and tell them, like, hey, if we don't get paid, we're not gonna do this. Okay. They went in, like 3 or 4 of them went in, and then they got fired. And then they brought in some other gladiators, and then the show ended up canceling because it wasn't the same. Sad.
Jeez. And shout out to my guy, Mike Adamley, who I work with at NBC5 for a number of years. He hosted that show. He's got some stories about his days, the Gladiators as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whispers, what do you got this week?
Well, speaking of those documentaries, I watched that Johnny Manziel one. That's worth watching. What a disaster he was. Never even read a single playbook in college or the pros. Isn't that crazy? That's what he said. I never opened up one ever.
He never watched video. He never watched
no video or anything.
Quarterbacks watch the iPad, and they have the plays and stuff.
Yeah, they brought that up. His timer was 0.0.
Yeah, and when they checked his iPad, Mark, they said they want to see how many hours he looked on the iPad was 0.0.
It's crazy.
And Lutarski's grade point.
And I saw it too. It's like, the kid was phenomenal at Texas A&M. But it's one of those kids who've had success. He had success in high school. It wasn't like he just found success at Texas A&M. He was a stud in high school. And, he comes from a well-to-do family and pretty much did what he wanted to do, party, drink. And he self-destructed. Even his dad and parents kind of turned on him at the end, just self-destructed. He wasn't even supposed to be a first-round pick.
And then signed because autographs. that part, Stacey?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
Once
said-
you got
yeah.
30 grand to sign some autographs.
He said
it
at
was
one
over.
point, while he was spending a lot of money traveling, where he had
Yeah.
100 grand in cash under his mattress
Oh jeez.
in college.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. Imagine if the NIL, if he had NIL when he was playing, that kid would have probably had a lot of money.
Oh, sure.
He did okay anyway.
Yeah, but the
Yeah,
best show
he did
on
okay.
there is Painkillers. If you guys get a chance to watch that, I mean, you're
Oh, on
on
Netflix?
I started to watch that.
you're on some
Yeah,
oxy right
Netflix.
now, aren't you?
Hey, listen, it's HIPAA violation of HIPAA right there. I'm calling the
Oh, there we
police.
go
I'm
again.
calling the-
Oh, sorry.
I'm calling the police over there.
But you know what
Come on,
Matthew
will you-
Broderick is? He plays Dr. Sackler. I mean, what a great name for
You know,
an
it's-
evil person.
The
But
funny thing about that is that Prime did it, Dope Sick, with Michael Keaton
yeah,
as the doctor, and it was the same story.
same story.
So it's
This
Oh,
is-
really?
This is
battling
by,
streaming services
this
doing
is
the
by
same
Peter
story.
Berg, though,
Yeah.
and he puts this twist on it,
Yeah.
where it's almost like a dark comedy in a
Did
certain
you watch
way.
Dope
They're
Sick?
so awful. Yeah,
Which one do you like better?
this one better just because
Okay.
of the edge that's in it with Peter Berg. How you're so annoyed, and you actually I don't know if I can watch another Matthew Broderick film. I hate the guy now.
So you got your choice on opioid disasters. Which
Yeah,
one
yeah.
to watch?
Yes,
he's so good.
which is like the number one drug that's killing all these
Yeah,
kids, man.
there's no
You know,
question
it's
about it.
sad.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
it's so
sickening.
sad. Man. Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Hey, since you're at home today, you didn't use the services of our guy Mike. Did he go to both shows at Wrigley Field when the boss was here?
He went to one. Mike is still recovering from back injury. He was
Yeah.
picking up the Doublemint twins at the same time, and so he's been a little injured, and so he's got the day off today to rest his back up, and hopefully next week, I'll be ready to come back. I don't know. I can't make any promises, but I'll probably hop in there, have Mike drive me. I don't know. We'll see how I feel, Mark.
You
What
put a-
what did he think? Did you ask him about the show at Wrigley?
Oh, listen, he loved I mean, listen, he is a big fan, and he got, anytime he talks about the boss, man, is amazing because he's like a historian. So you can ask him questions about, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. He's got stories. I mean, the guy's probably seen Bruce Springsteen over 100 times. He's been to over 500 concerts. Now put that in perspective.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah,
That's a lot of concerts.
Our guy Chuck Garfine's a big Bruce fan. I think he's been to like 50 or more shows too. All
Did
over
he?
the world. Yeah.
Did he?
So we'll have to get
He
those
go-
guys together.
I wonder if he went to this last one.
He can compare
Soldier
stories.
Field.
Clarence Clemens now is plays the saxophone in the band. I mean, the son.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Son.
Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter went to see Pink at American Family Field the other day. She said the show's unbelievable. She does a thing where she flies over the crowd, she's wired up and stuff.
It's
Oh,
actually-
really?
Acrobatics.
It's a little nuts, isn't it?
Yeah. Got to do it at a
Pink.
outdoor stadium.
Pink can sing though.
Yeah.
Pink can sing.
Puts
Yeah,
on
I
a
like
good
Pink.
show.
Pink can sing.
So Whispers, you want to read
Yeah,
tell the
Taylor
folks
Swift.
how they can get a limo ride?
Yeah, do that.
Come on.
Shout out
Oh,
to
okay.
my
Why
boys
don't you
at
do it
Windy
as Mike
City.
Tyson?
Yeah, no, do it as Mike Tyson.
Windy City Limousine.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Provides
go ahead.
championship service. Making reservations so easy, it's a slam dunk. It's ludicrous. Let Windy City break the full court pressure of traffic. Get your destination in style and on time. Contact us at 847-916-9300.
So
You
that guy
know,
with a
Stacey,
speech impediment.
he always tells us that the problem is that we stop him.
No, it
The
was
problem
perfect.
this time
Yeah.
is that we let him go.
No, I think
Yeah,
you
we
guys
let
are
him go,
mistaken.
but we should have stopped him, Mark.
Look at this.
We should have stopped him,
Oh,
Mark.
look
That's what we
look at the
should have- after- as
feedback
soon as he opened
online
his
here.
mouth.
That's the best
What are,
Tyson they've ever
what are the
heard.
people saying online?
Oh my! What are they saying? What are they saying?
They said Mark and Stacey just wrong.
Oh,
No, they're probably saying I thought I saw a putty cat. That's probably what they're saying over there.
Stop putting that.
I did see a putty cat.
There you go.
Archie.
Now you
Yeah.
sound like a young Tyson right there. That was good.
Oh man, nothing
No,
like
no.
nothing like a
Nothing.
Mike Tyson bad impersonation to bring the show to a screeching halt.
Yeah, to
I
bring
love
to a
it.
screeching
That's
halt.
part of the beauty of it.
All right, well we're gonna let you go, Stacey. Be well. Hope you're feeling better. Take it easy. Don't rush that. That hip replacement's no joke. So we look forward to seeing you back in
Nah,
the
it's
studio when
not.
you're up and around.
I'm looking good though, Mark. I just want to throw that out there to all American, all those
Not how you
single
feel.
women out there, all the single women out there. I might have a hip injury right now, but I'm still looking good.
There you go.
Maybe you can get on Hip Replacement Magazine Monthly as Sexiest Man Alive.
Hey, listen, you know what? Yeah, listen,
Is there a
they've already
magazine
called
like
me. They've
that?
already,
I'll bet there is.
they've already, They already called me to come back and do from Wyoming, wherever that we were. Montana. Montana already called me back and said they want me in this year's edition too. So I told them I'd have to talk about if I can bring my two partners with me. So you guys might be included, but I can't make any promises.
We're showing the cover right now for all the folks on YouTube. Get a chance to enjoy the 10 sexiest men alive, including Stacy King.
Yes, and there I am right there. Yeah, Mark, you know that picture they got me when I was asleep. So, you know, but the next picture I come up is going to be looking pretty sexy.
I think that's the OxyContin pose there. There's the sexiest man in Paris.
Hey.
OxyContin monthly.
Oh, baby.
I didn't feel
I'm
anything.
I'm going to go get some right now, baby. Oh, Lord, you guys have brought pain to my hip.
Bringing the pain. Give me the hot sauce.
You're bringing the pain.
Hey, try some Sam Adams.
Hey, drive home safely, Chicago. Beep, beep.
All right, thanks to Jordan Walsh and Mark Grody for joining us. And we'll be back with a brand new show again next week. I want to give you a heads up. Starting in September, we're going to move our tapings to Monday, so we get you start your week off
Monday.
So that's coming up on September 11th, the day
Start it
after
off right.
the Bears' home opener against the Green Bay Packers. Stacey, thanks a lot. Be well. We'll see you next week.
Hey, you're welcome, man.
All right, thanks
Thank
to the
you,
Sriracha
thank you,
crew as
thank you.
well.